right, welcome back to another episode of Beer, Bacon, and Bros. We are back tonight with a topic of growing interest is the way I'll phrase it. So if you're a big college football fan, you know that most college football teams have a spring game, usually played sometime in March or April. Over the last couple of years, they've probably been boring. You probably haven't gone to it. Most of them are free, at least here at South Carolina, they've been free. And now, there's the conversation of what should they do to grow interest, right? And so some college football coaches are talking about setting up a scrimmage with another probably local, smaller college to kind of pique some interest, get some fans out there, and probably even do better for your football team than them just practicing themselves.
Yeah, because I feel like this spring game now feels like what a 2 days before game day walkthrough practice would be.
Exactly.
That's kind of, you might flash some talent here and there, open the playbook up a page or two, see some other things just to show some talent that you have. But other than that, yeah, your spring game is kind of just a walkthrough to kind of get your players out and about and loosened up, going into summer workouts and everything else. I like the idea of scrimmaging an opponent.
All right, I'm going to throw a scenario out there for you. If South Carolina scrimmaged Coastal Carolina, right? A team that's not on our schedule, a team that we're not going to play.
Not typically, yeah.
Unless it just happens to be a bowl game. I would have said the Charlotte 49ers, but they're actually playing the Charlotte 49ers this year. So, if Coastal and the University of South Carolina got together and did a scrimmage for the spring game, are you more inclined to go to the spring game then versus just what it would normally be on a weekend?
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
I would think that you're adding a different level of competitiveness to it because now you're bringing in an opponent who is, in this case, you're not maybe going to have any film on in 6 months. Because, let's say, what the last thing I pulled out was November or December, whenever the last bowl game was for Coastal.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to study film on. Who knows, maybe in some scenarios, some teams got a new coach. Hey, we decided we're going to switch up our offense. Georgia Tech gets a new coach. They go away from triple option. Citadel got a new coach. We got rid of a tight end position. So, say, granted, chat road ain't go nowhere, but, stuff like that could happen.
Yeah.
So you might look at film from November. That's completely different than what they're going to be running this upcoming year.
Yeah.
So you might not actually have anything. Might be something a little different. It would be more fun, I think, on a fan experience just to see.
So I'm completely against it because at that point in time, why not just make it another game of the season?
Yeah.
And also, the spring game, you have the ability to see 44 different players actually go out there and play potentially because you have 2 different offenses and 2 different defenses out there.
Yep.
The spring game, in my opinion, is to showcase the team's talent and give everybody a chance to go out there and do something and highlight themselves to the coaches.
But I feel like
There's the thing though is also if you go a scrimmage, what is Coastal going to get out of it to go play a bigger school and just get your shit kicked in a scrimmage? What do you gain out of that?
They'd kick our shit in right now, but
you know what I'm saying? What small school is going to go to Alabama to play them in a scrimmage?
Yeah,
and potentially risk injury to their star players because they're playing against true talent. At that point, when you bring into a scrimmage, you bring in another team, you're bringing in a competitive factor, like Adam said. Along with the competitive factor, you're going to have harder hits and more injuries in the spring game, which is just dumb.
Yeah, that's where I'd be against it too. Is I would be against it as far as the spring games are usually walkthroughs, and so you're not hitting the quarterback. You're not really.
That can still be a simulation.
No fan is going to the spring game to watch it in the sense of a game. You're going to see the potential talent that your team has. You want to get to see everybody in and out.
I still think that can be showcased in a scrimmage.
It could, but it's not nearly to the factor of a spring game because you have so many different players on the field just from your team alone.
I'm with Alex on that. I think you get to see more out of your individual team when they're playing.
You get to see your second and third cuts.
When it comes to the injury stuff, I'm imagining because of the way they already treat the spring game scrimmages. Most coaches are literally just doing an extra practice now. It's not even a game. You're just having the offense run out there or 7-on-7s or you're working on 3rd and 12s and stuff like that. It's not actually really even a game anymore, or at least last year's South Carolina spring game wasn't. So, really what I think is they would probably limit the injuries. You're probably not tackling the quarterback.
They're already doing that now.
Yeah, it would be more of what the NFL preseason game was, right? Where you would have really soft hits, you'd have people just out there kind of really judging what they can do. You might be working a
The
little
key
bit more
difference there, though, is the NFL's doing that
already.
no, combined with the regular season. It leads straight to the regular season.
Yeah.
Here, you're talking about months of difference where
You get 6 months.
you go to do a scrimmage, your star player just tore his ACL.
He's out for the year.
I mean, but
You just
same,
screwed yourself.
same thing could happen in the NFL preseason game, though.
Yeah, Jordy Nelson towards
Yeah, but it's with it being right there by the season. Those aren't really. Those are more of like tune up, like get yourself into physical shape and conditioning. This here in the spring games isn't really for that purpose. It's more of so coaches can get a feel for what they've got.
Yeah, before they get into summer practice, summer workouts, and into the fall prep.
Yeah. I really brought it more so from a fan standpoint. Would you be interested in
It would make it more interesting, I think, as a fan for you
Yeah.
to bring in another team.
But I definitely think if they ever went into it, it would be more of a very small school comes. You get you get to see something different defensively than what you already coach and what you know how to coach, and offensively, obviously. And it would probably add a little bit of a competitive edge because you're playing somebody else that isn't your brother. But all right. Any last? Good. Cool. Well, let us know in the comments what you think. Should college football go to having a scrimmage in the spring instead of a spring game? And as always, make sure you like, comment, subscribe.